All right, so I end up calling my dad, tell him what Jake says. Now, keep in mind, my dad, he's a research scientist. He's a colloid chemist. He just amazing guy. So, and all this kind of the science stuff, it's always my dad. Got to call my dad. So I say to my dad, hey, this is what Jake just said to me. And my dad said, no shit. Pretty interesting. He goes, he knows what he's talking about. He gets what he knows what's going on. He knows what he's talking about. So I think that was kind of a cool thing. My dad completely understood what Jake was talking about, and of course he tried to explain it to me, and I was just dumbfounded by the whole entire thing. So around this time, I'm driving school bus. So I drive school bus. The kids, they go to school during the day. I'm home alone. Jake at this point, I'm sure he's probably started kindergarten or right around that time. And I'm home in the morning by myself, and Crossing Over with John Edwards starts coming on. So I start watching this, and I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool, watching it. I'd never seen anybody do really what they told me I could do, which I still thought was ridiculous. And, I've watched Sylvia Browne a little bit at this point, but, she just wasn't a connect to me. And so I start watching John Edward. I just love him. And I fold laundry. I do whatever I'm doing as I'm watching this show. And I've been watching it. And then all of a sudden, I start reading right alongside with him. And I'm in my house folding laundry, saying things like, I'm sure if that was filming, if it was filming, if there was like a 10-second delay, I was saying it at the same exact time he was saying it. And I'm standing in my living room like, what is going on? Have I seen this show before? Like, how do I know what this guy's going to say? How do I understand what he's going to say? That's crazy. I know what he's going to say. Not thinking I'm talking to the dead people. I'm thinking I just know what that guy's going to say. That's amazing, And that just became like more and more, and it became a thing that I did every single day. It was neat. I thought, wow, I guess I can read his mind, or, and then maybe after like 6 months, I thought, well, geez, what if I do talk to dead people? Is that what I'm hearing? Because sometimes I would get things a little differently than what he would say them and things like that. Anyway, I still never really gave it, too much thought. I just really never did. So now, oh Lord, now I'm trying to think. So what year was that? Yeah, so the next few years, I just kind of fumbled around. Was trying to figure out me, I was in my early 30s, just trying to figure out me. I never really had a childhood, or not a childhood. I had children so young that I never really got to go out and have fun and party and do those things. So I had met, one of my very best friends, and her and I would go out like almost every weekend, dancing and having a blast. And my husband, he watched the kids, and and yeah, her and I became very, very close. We're still like best friends to this day. And so we're going through all of this, and I at this point in my life, you guys, I just didn't have faith in myself. I didn't trust myself. If you told me you didn't like my shirt, of course I'd want to, but I wouldn't wear the shirt again. I mean, it bothered me that much if somebody didn't like me, or if somebody didn't approve of me. Listen, I've always been outspoken, always, but things used to bother me a lot more. I had very low self-esteem after years of being told I was ugly and fat. And at this point in my life, I was probably up to like a size 14. And I know that seems like not a big deal to you guys, but to me it was huge. And I felt like I was gigantically huge. And I just felt like I had no control over my eating. dude, I couldn't walk past a Reese's cup. Like, they weren't safe if they were near me. And I would just eat and eat and eat and eat, and the soda that I drank, and it just, my body became just like, ugh, like I was putting everything in there, all the junk, all the crap, all the, and I was just getting bigger and bigger. Anyhow, but I was having fun at the same time and laughing and making a whole bunch of friends. So at this point, I'm working here in Douglasville, driving school bus and I did ask permission. I was driving for New Roads Transportation here in Douglasville. I was hired, oh my goodness, when my middle son started kindergarten, I was hired. So I drove school bus his whole school career. So I drove from kindergarten until he graduated, and that's when I stopped driving. And that was, my second child, Alex. That's when I started driving. Anyhow, this company, the girls at this company, we were like a family. We were all like a family, and we all hung hard. We were in each other's weddings. We had babies together. This is where a lot of my stuff happened. And so before I really knew what was going on, there was always there were always things going on around me. And I'll never forget, when I started driving there, they had this barn garage type of area off to, the side of the building. Well, I don't know if it was when I started, but there was this barn there. God, I hated that barn. And I used to drive trolley also for them on the weekends, which was the neatest thing. It was like driving a big bay window down the road. It was weird and it was neat. And I saw a lot of things in that trolley, going to churches, and it was just a really neat job to have. I loved the people. I've always been just such a people person. So, that was a perfect job for me. But that barn over there at that bus lot used to scare the bejesus out of me. I swear there was some evil thing back in the corner of that barn, and it had really big long legs, and it would sit up in the rafters. I hated it. I hated it. I hated it. And if they told me I had to park something in there, I never parked it in there. I'd leave it in the middle of the parking lot, and then I get hollered at. I didn't like that barn. I didn't like it a bit. Anyhow, so I'm driving bus, there's always stuff going on. It was like the running joke where I worked that I was the bus that all of the animals ran after. So I was the bus. I'll never forget the one time I was driving down, and it all makes sense now, right? I'm driving down, a back road here, and I have a deer. I was driving my high school and middle school kids. So if any of you out there were on my bus, geez, oh man, the crap that went on this bus. So we're driving down, we get down to this little crooked bridge here, and there is a deer running right alongside my bus, dun-dun, 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 like right at my door. And I turn, and there he is, or she, I don't even know. I can't remember if it had antlers or not. And it stares at me straight through my door, and I'm thinking, oh no, this thing's gonna run into my bus, because we were ready to go through this little area that was very tight. This damn thing, dun, 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 and then I put my brakes on, and it jumped in front of me. And there were always things flying after my bus. There were swans that would throw themselves in front of my bus. What was the other thing? Then, I was driving behind a chicken truck one day in my bus, and a few of the cages broke open, and the chickens started falling out all around me. I mean, it was wild. And the only reason I ended up driving school bus was because when my daughter went to kindergarten, when Leah went to kindergarten, there was an older woman who was her bus driver, and her name was Betty. And I loved Betty. Betty was just the nicest lady. Well, here it was Betty Rhodes, and it was her family that owned this bus company. And she would always say to me, Alicia, you should really try doing this. You should come apply every day. Come apply. She'd come apply. Come down here. You come work for us. Come apply, And the one day I thought, you know what? Heck, all right, Betty, I'm going to come down. I'll apply. So I marched in there one day, applied to work there, had a interview with my boss's then wife, and he stopped in for lunch, and I was hired. And then we're going to go from here to the next one.